My name's Deputy Inspector General of Police, Dr. Shehu, PSC. To talk about PRAWA, Prisoners Rehabilitation and Welfare Action, we have a very, very good rapport, good understanding, and good synergy between the police and PRAWA for many years. It is an institution that concerns primarily on respect of dignity and human rights, which the police are supposed to be part of it. And also capacity building to the police to enable them to perform effectively and efficiently in conjunction with the fundamental respect to the fundamental human rights as enshrined into the Nigerian constitutions of 1999. It's very, very beneficial, and at the same time in building capacity and enabling the police officers to perform credibly when they go out to discharge their duties. The police is an organization that deals with all kinds of human beings. When they come across a police officer, they deserve to be respected by police in ensuring not only their security and safety, but also in respecting their dignity and human rights. So in a nutshell, the training and retraining we are getting from the PRAWA is to enable us have police that will function and discharge their duties in a most standard and acceptable manner by members of the public. At this juncture, I want to say kudos. Welcome to the Nigeria Police Force online training.
But I don't get this change now.
Allah. Oh yeah, no problem. I'll come back later and collect my change.
All right, no
bye.
Thank you very much.
You.
All right.
No, sir. I'm very sorry. It's a mistake, sir. I'm very sorry, sir. It's a devil's work. It's a devil's work.
For the past 3 months, I've been stealing my bread.
It's not me, oh.
So you're the one.
Oh, no, sir, I'm not the one. Sir, it's hunger.
Carry the bread. Carry the bread. Hold it.
Sir, it's hunger. Yeah. Sorry, sir.
Don't let me.
I'm very sorry, sir.
Right now.
Yes, sir.
Hear me? Right now. You're going to the station.
Jesus. Sir, I'm sorry.
You like to go?
It's a devil's work.
Let's go. What can you do?
I swear to God again. I swear to God again. Sir, I look like this. I don't look like this now.
This for what? You have been stealing my bread. You will end up in the station. Don't let me beat you. Don't let me beat you. Your friend. He's your friend. So your friend is a thief.
What?
Your friend is a thief. Look at the bread he's stolen in my shop.
It's not my bread. It's his bread.
He's stolen bread in my shop.
What? Bros, You don't look for everything where you go to finish, you know, see our brain.
They
You
hungry.
see, nah, they hungry. You know, when they tell us, I'm very sorry. It's not me. It's not me.
You pay me now. You pay me for what?
I will pay you for the bread.
For this bread?
You pay now.
You don't understand.
You pay.
They have been stealing bread and snacks in my shop for
I'm
the
not the
past
one.
3 months.
I'm not the one.
How do I know you're not the
It's
one?
my
I
first
caught
time.
you. You're a thief.
It's my first time. I will pay. It's my first time.
You will pay now. You pay. This is why I go to police station.
With you. With you.
This one don't pass my power. Don't worry, let me go and call your mother.
With you.
I'm coming, let me go and call your mother.
Police station.
Okay, please no.
You're afraid of me.
Okay, please. Sir, take your bread. I will steal again.
Past 3 months. Come on,
Jesus. Ah, yeah, me yo. Police station.
don't let me beat you. Sorry, sir. I have a provision shop. And for the past 3 months, officer, 3 months! Every day, something was missing in my shop.
Sir, I swear it was the devil's work.
You work for the
Sir, I'm very sorry,
You work for the
sir.
devil.
It will never ever happen again. That's my first time.
It's your son?
Officer, is my son. I had his no bread. He's not a thief.
What is going on here?
I
What is the
don't know.
problem? What is going on here?
Officer, good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon. I have a provision shop. And for the past 3 months, this young man has been stealing bread or snacks from my shop
Sir, I swear.
every day.
I swear it's the first time. This is my first time, sir.
Young man,
Sorry, sir.
who gave you this bread?
Sir, I swear it's the devil's work. It's the devil's plan, sir. I was hungry. I'm not eating for 2 days. That's why, sir.
Officer, my son is not a thief. Officer, my son is not a thief.
I don't know. I don't know.
He's not a thief.
Okay, this is the last module in course 5, and in this module we'll be looking at the competencies that are necessary for the observance of the child's right. What are the skills and competencies that will help you to ensure that you discharge your duties in respect to handling children's right, and this is very important. So I want us to pay very key attention to this particular module. Now, the lesson objective is to create awareness on the skills and competencies necessary for the implementation of child rights-based approach within the Nigerian police. So what we are trying to say is that we want to have a children-friendly police. So the objective is to create awareness on the skills you need and the competencies you need to develop to help you to be able to be a child-friendly police officer. Now, at the end of this course, it is expected that trainees, which is you, the police officer, would be able to understand competencies necessary for the observance of child rights principles and standards. So at the end of this course, you will be able to understand really what competencies you need to be able to be a friendly police officer. Okay, we now go to the introduction. For rights to have meaning, effective remedies must be available to redress violations. States need to give particular attention to ensuring that there are effective child-sensitive procedures available to children and their representatives. So what we are trying to say is that in dealing with children, there should be procedures that are children-friendly, procedures that are adapted specifically to handle children. This should include provision of child-friendly information, advice, and advocacy, including support for self-advocacy and access to independent complaints procedure and to courts with necessary legal and other assistance. What we are trying to say is that the provisions we need to make, regarding children, we have to provide them with information. Now, the same way you provide information to an adult is not the same way you provide an information to a child, because the child is not fully developed and may not understand exactly what you are saying. So information, while writing probably children-friendly books or while putting out children-friendly information, it has to be adapted in a language that the child will be able to understand. And in terms of legal procedures, it has to also be adapted to meet the special need of children. Where rights are found to have been breached, there should be appropriate reparation, including compensation and, where needed, measures to promote physical and psychological recovery, rehabilitation, and integration as required by Article 39. Now, what we are trying to say is that if there is any breach, if a child's rights is violated, you need to take adequate steps to ensure that there is a measure of reparation, including compensation to the child, in order to stop such violations and in order to set some form of deterrent in future for other people who may be tempted to also violate children's rights. Now, the International Bureau for Children's Rights, the IBCR, together with other 40 international experts and over 30 police officers, identified 6 core competencies that are considered the foundation of what police officers should know on children's rights and at an initial training level. So what we're trying to say is that in this particular course, we are going to look at some key competencies that you are expected to develop. There are actually 6 in number. That if you develop these key competencies, it will help you in order to deal with children. We also encourage you to go to this website you are seeing there. It's actually there on the slide you are looking at. You can get more information regarding some of the children's rights when you go through that website. Now, we now look at the 6 competencies I talked about earlier. There are 6 in number, and I want us to pay very close attention to all 6 of them. The first one is knowledge, promotion, and implementation of children's rights. Now, if you do not know what the right of a child is, you will not know what you're supposed to protect. So that is why it is important for you to go through the first modules to understand really what does it mean when we say children's rights. Rights like the dignity to the human person, right to freedom from discrimination, right to life, and all of the other rights that we listed in the initial modules. You need to go through them. You must have adequate knowledge, you understand, of the children's right before you'll be able to promote and implement them. The second competency you need to develop is knowledge and application of the rules of ethics and professional conduct. Ethics has to do with the best way to do something in a way that is morally and professionally acceptable. So you need to be able to develop the right knowledge and be able to apply the rules. There is a code of conduct for the police officer, which of course includes how children are supposed to be treated. So you need to have adequate knowledge of that code of conduct for you to be able to act professionally when you are dealing with children. The third competency is knowledge of children. There's a popular saying that when the knowledge of a thing is not known, or when the purpose of a thing is not known, abuse becomes inevitable. So you need to be able to build up your knowledge regarding children. How are children supposed to be treated? If you are somebody that probably you don't have children of your own, you need to learn from, you need to in fact develop special skills. Know how children are supposed to be approached, how they are supposed to be talked to, how they are supposed to be asked for something, how they are supposed to be interrogated when you want to find out something from a child. There's a particular way you can approach a child and the child will run away. There's a particular way you approach a child and the child will open up to you and give you information. In your field work, when you are out there trying to make some investigation regarding something that occurred within a vicinity, a child can actually give you some form of information. But you need to have knowledge of how to deal with children in order to make that child to feel at ease for you to get the information that you need. The fourth competency you need to develop is interaction and communication with children, their families, and communities. How do you interact with children? Is what I just said now. Communication is really very important. Communication skills. There is a specific communication skill that is peculiar only to children. The way you talk to a child may be different from the way you talk to an adult. So you need to be able to adapt your communication skills to what will make a child to be at ease when you are talking to a child. The fifth one is collaboration with all formal and informal stakeholders towards a coordinated intervention. Now, when we are talking about stakeholders, stakeholders are everybody who has a stake when it comes to children's rights. You have a stake, the society has a stake, the parents have a stake, the guardians have a stake, the faith-based organizations, the NGOs, all of us, we are stakeholders in children's rights. So there must be some form of collaboration with us, with the NGOs, with faith-based organizations, with families, with the communities, in order for us to promote children's rights. Now, the sixth competency is efficient use of working tools adapted to children. You don't turn guns against children. So there must be some tools that can be adapted that you can use when dealing with children. It is not advisable for you to turn your guns on children because, of course, they are still infants and they may be scared, when they see you turn your guns on them. Going forward, the term competency includes the knowledge, experiences, skills, and behaviors, even attitudes required to perform effectively in a given job, role, or a situation. That's what competency means. When we talk about competency, it talks about a gamut of all other things that comes together to make it competency. Things like knowledge, experiences, skills, behavior, attitude. All of these things are what forms the competency on the job, and you need to develop this competency. Not just book knowledge, we are also talking about having the right attitude, towards children's rights. Competencies are what a person has or may acquire. You need to acquire competence. In fact, one of the reasons why you are learning this course is because you want to develop core competencies in human rights. And of course, that's one way for you to acquire competency in a particular area. So competencies are what a person has or may acquire. It may be a feature, an attitude, an ability, an aspect of one's self-image or body of knowledge and behaviors that he or she uses. Generally speaking, competencies can be distinguished from basic or technical competencies. Now, basic competencies are intrinsic human qualities or skills generally required to enter into a profession. Now, when we talk of basic competencies, those ones are not acquired. It is intrinsic. It is inherent in you. It is a human quality, and that's what you need even before you go into the police profession. There are some core competencies you are supposed to have. Things like integrity, honesty, and good work ethic. Now, technical competencies, on the other hand, allows an officer to perform a specific task or act adequately in a particular situation. These might include recognizing and preventing violence against children or specific computer skills. Now, when we talk about technical competencies, we are talking about those ones you learned. It may be a computer skill, it may be a skill on interrogation, it may be a skill on digital skills. Those ones are acquired. You learn them. And that one is different from your basic competence. Now, the competencies, there are three aspects into the competencies. Whether we are talking about technical competency or we're talking about basic competencies, there are three aspects to it. The first one is knowledge. The second one is technical skills. The third one, which is very important, is interpersonal skills. When we talk about interpersonal skills, we are talking about how you relate to another person, relationship skills, how you are able to manage conflict, how you are able to manage people's temperaments, how you are able to manage differences. And of course, this is very important. Now, we've come to the end of Module 5, which is children's right. I will advise you to go through your manual and also to go through the slides that we've given to you. If you have further questions you may want us to address, you can visit www.prawa.org, and there you can write us or you can send us a message and we will respond. And together we'll work as a team to ensure that we protect and promote children's rights in Nigeria. Thank you very much.